Now, usually, I try to make videos that inspire you to travel or chase your dreams, and I'd much rather you watch those. But I do realize that a lot of times chasing your dreams end up becoming a business. So I thought I'd lend a helping hand, or two.
All right, so you guys may find me a little bit of a whiner here with this video, but just bear with me and at least work with me and see my line of reasoning. So this is another one of those ratios that I have a problem with. Why? Because it's like, to me, comparing apples to oranges, and then we just all smile about it and go, yeah, that makes sense. But let's actually see if it does make sense. So really, what is net working capital turnover ratio? So what we're trying to see is, how good are we at basically paying off our obligations and then generating some money for ourselves, collecting money from our customers. And why do I say this? Because net working capital, all right, conveniently, I have the card here still. Net working capital really equals our current assets minus current liability. So let's look at this. So we're comparing, which we've been doing the whole time with our turnover ratios. We're looking at sales, right? Which is going to be in our income statement. And from our income statement, we remember that it's revenue minus expenses. And what is net working capital really looking at? Isn't it more looking at sort of, either it's saying that we're taking care of our operational expenses with current assets, which is really going to lean more on inventory, right? Because inventory are the things we plan on selling, and we have cash, but I don't want to spend the cash we already have. I want to hold on to that for as long as possible. I really don't want to utilize any of my current assets except for my inventory to make money. And whatever my inventory is worth is not what I'm going to collect from my customers. Why would I buy something for $2 each and then sell it for $2 each? I want to collect a whole lot more. So I rely on my income statement to take care of my expenses, in my opinion. Net working capital is more of a, hey, just in case things go wrong for you this period, if we had to liquidate the things that we can sell immediately to take care of our current obligations, will we have room? Do you have room to work with? Will you survive? Will you make it? Are you going to be able to keep your head above water? That's more what net working capital is concerned with, if we want to admit it to ourselves or not. Because why would I liquidate my inventory for exactly what I paid for it? I would rather sell it to customers that I'm able to convince that, hey, I paid $2 for it, but it's worth $10 to you, so give me $10, right? And I'm being a little bit angry about this. Well, not angry, just curious about this specific ratio, because what it's saying is, it's saying, hey, even though you're successful, all right, and bringing in money for the most part here, let's still compare it to if you had to rely on, your emergency funds here, if you had to liquidate everything really quickly. Because again, think about it, net working capital, our supplies are part of our current assets. Do I really want to liquidate that? My supplies, my pencils, my sharpeners for my office, do I want to liquidate that to take care of my current obligations? No, I don't want to do that. My prepaid expenses, they're current assets, right? But do I really want to go tell my landlord, hey, you know what, I can't really afford rent this month, so how about you give me that money back? No, I don't want to do that. My cash, do I really want to spend it? No, I like looking at it. I like looking at my cash. So yeah, net working capital tells us, hey, how much room, how much space do we have to really work with? But I don't want to rely on this. I'd rather rely on my operations. That's why I'm in business. I want to be successful at collecting money from people running my business. And running my business is my operations. I'd rather just collect money from my day-to-day activities. So why am I saying, on the one hand, hey, let's look at all the money we're able to how we're able to collect from our operations, and compared to in case things went wrong. I mean, look, I'm going to look at this because we need to, and you're probably insisting because it's one of those things that we have to understand as financially minded people, I guess. I don't know what word to use to describe us in this case, but net working capital turnover ratio. This is strictly balance sheet stuff. Two items from our balance sheet, our current assets and our current minus our current liabilities, weighed against one little old bitty mighty sales. See what I did there? I was just completely contradictory. But it's so that's my major qualm about it, because I really, yes, when things come to worst comes to worst, I want to know that I can liquidate some things to satisfy my obligations, because they are the most important. Okay, but at the same time, I mean, if I'm bringing in money, well, do I really want to compare it to my net working capital? I guess, yeah. For some people, yes. Let's just hope we're bringing in as much money as possible. Which at the end of the day, every single ratio is that's what every ratio wants, right? Bring in as much money as possible when weighed against the amount of space we're working with if there was an emergency. You know what I mean? So like that's exactly what's happening with this ratio. Okay, let's hope we're bringing in as much money as possible, but still understand what you know how much we would have to work with if we had to liquidate everything if we weren't bringing in as much money as possible. I guess so it's one of those things I have a problem with, but for you to understand so I don't ruin your day, it's simply you look in your income statement. Let me find a marker. Okay, you're going to look in your income statement, you're going to see your sales. We're going to stick with 100,000 in sales, but whatever fancy schmancy income statement that you're looking at from whatever period, all right, you're going to take the net working capital, the difference between the current assets minus current liabilities, which again, take a look at them. Are we really going to make money? Are we really going to pay our bills with a lot of those things? All right, so that's my whole thing about why am I even really worried about this? You know, is it one of those things that someone just decided, hey, I we need more turnover ratio, so net working capital makes sense. Let's just weigh it against sales. But whatever. I'm being really dramatic again. So current assets minus current liabilities, we'll say is, I don't know, 5,000. Actually, you know what? Let's play around with this 5,000, and then we'll do another one for 10,000, and then we'll try and see what it's really telling us. So if we had to liquidate our current assets to pay our obligations for the year, our current liabilities for the year, I should say, there'd be $5,000 left. Like we'd have $5,000 left to work with. That'd be our working capital. But let's say within a period we made $100,000. You have no idea what's still going on in my mind right now. There were like so many conflicting issues that I had as to why I wouldn't. Well, whatever. I'm done preaching. Okay, so that's just. So for every dollar we have to work with after selling our obligations with our current assets, some of which have, we're planning to not liquidate, we actually brought in $20. So yay! We don't have to rely on our working capital because operations took care of itself. I guess that's it. I guess that's really it. Okay, so for the sake of actually being productive here, that's really it. So we don't have to rely on our working capital because for every dollar of room we have to work with, we're actually bringing in $20. But that really only depends on the size of our current liabilities. Whatever. I'm trying to look on the bright side here. Okay, so oh boy, so much is going on right now. All right, so let's say it's 100,000 in sales we have over our net working capital of 10,000. I might just do another example here until I feel good about this. But so we take out the zeros and we say it's 10 to 1. All right, I'm not gonna be I'm gonna be merciful. Let's say the answer is really 20 for you guys that like to see things completely simplified. Okay, so for every dollar of room we have to work with, if we were to use our current assets to take care of our immediate obligations, which are our current liabilities, we have $10 that we're bringing in from other people. And you have to think about it. So your current liabilities are really just going to be those, I should say, interest expenses for the most part. Okay, so see how many steps you have to really go through, but your liabilities are money you owe. For the most part, it's going to be interest. So for every dollar of interest, in a way, you could no, for every dollar after you take care of all your obligations from what your current assets were worth, you're gonna have $10 in sales. I'm not the right person to explain this because I just don't like the ratio. It's to me it just seems like it complicates. It's too many stages of thinking, too many things for you to consider that aren't really worth it. There are other ratios that do just a better job explaining something that's has more immediate impact to what you're trying to actually consider. Okay, if you're not bringing in a lot of sales, sure. Let's see if you have $10,000 of room to work with after you settle your current liabilities with your current assets. You subtract everything, and you still have $10,000 worth of current assets left over that you turn into cash. All right, and you only brought in, let's say, $5,000 within a period. I don't think I've sounded this sad talking about a ratio ever. Okay, so that's 1 to 2 and 0.5 for you guys. So for every $2 value that's left over after you take care of your current liabilities with your current assets, some of which you don't intend on actually turning into cash, you only brought in $1 of revenue. Well, okay, all right, I can see it. Okay, so if things are going bad, I think it's if things are going badly for us, I should say. I think it might be something to consider. So you kind of know how far apart you are in sales and how much you need to make up. So for every $2, but it doesn't make any sense. I just wouldn't. There's just so many things that are considered. No, I'm not going to forgive it. This is the math. This is the math for this ratio. Net working capital turnover ratio. I'm sorry. It's one of those things you learn in school and you kind of make a face and you memorize it. And then when you're trying to make a video about it, you hope that you could finally be convinced as you're talking to people. But I'm not able to convince myself that this is a worthwhile ratio. And that's just that. All right. This is how you calculate it. You take your sales divided by your current assets minus your current liabilities, and whatever you get, have it make sense to you. All right. I feel like whatever argument you can make for why it's important, I can find 2 other ratios that just do a better job telling the story that you really want told, or helping you clarify what it is you need to be clarified. This took a lot longer than I would have liked it. I thought I was going to be happier at the end of the video. I'm not. Yeah, net working capital turnover ratio. Hopefully, this doesn't come back to bite me or something.
Thank you so much for watching. Turning a dream into a reality usually ends up becoming your business. That is why we have the Helping Hands videos. Subscribe, like, and feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Fans of Kindness, our Facebook page, is also waiting for you. See you in the next video. Until then, be your best and never stop learning.